One of the things that I experienced when I was healing from a relationship with somebody who was emotionally unavailable, dismissive, avoidant, and avoidant in many ways, really, was something that I never expected I would experience and did not recognize myself in this stage of my healing. And that was an enormous amount of anger leaning into rage. I'd never experienced this before. But honestly, if you are experiencing this anger towards someone who you've loved, who you've had all the empathy and compassion and understanding for in the world, and you're like, what on earth is going on here? Why am I feeling like this? I used to love them so much. I used to understand them so much. Now why do I basically feel like I hate them? I want to say, good. This is your self-respect trying to speak, right? And this is not to say that we're going to shame the avoidant. I know there's lots of people who really like the fact that I'm quite neutral in my videos, not trying to blame or shame an avoidant, but actually this is not about them and how bad or good they are or how much we can understand them. This is about your self-respect, right? Because the fact is that if somebody's been in and out of your life, dismissing your feelings, not listening to you, not taking you seriously, brushing things that are important to you aside, that is disrespect to you and your inner world. And when you start actually going, you know what, that was really fucked up, like that was really not okay, what the hell was that? And that anger starts like actually coming up. That's a really good sign. That's you healing. That is part of grief too, right? There's 5 stages of grief and anger is one of them. And it's really important because it processes the parts of you, the voice within you that maybe was pushed down at times, right? It helps you to process another part of the emotion about this that needs to be processed in order for you to come to an acceptance. I always remember being really confused with myself and saying to my therapist, like, what the hell is going on? Why am I so furious? Why am I angry? Why do I feel like I hate this person? This isn't me. I don't understand it. And I was like saying all these things and like really like naming it for what it was, the disrespect, you know, the broken trust, like so many things that happened that, or I thought, why did I let that go before? What on earth was I doing? And I was just so furious. And I remember saying to her, what is going on? Like, will I ever feel normal again? And she was like, this is good. This is you finding your voice. This is you finally letting out what you've been suppressing and what wasn't allowed or didn't feel safe enough for you to actually say because of your fear of abandonment. So you being able to name this and say it for what it is and actually own what you need and what you want and what is right for you in a relationship, you know, realigning with your values is a really, really good sign. And it was like really validating and such a relief. So I wanted to say this to you because I know it can feel really weird, like, what? I'm not an angry person, I'm a loving person. But remember, there is a fine line between love and hate at times. And actually, often our hate for someone is really another way of us expressing, you know, I didn't get what I wanted here. I didn't get what I thought I was going to get. I didn't experience the version of you that I had in my head that you were. And so sometimes what part of the process was for me as well, and other people I've seen this happen to, is that the anger then turns on you, which is temporary. It's all temporary, this anger stage, right? Like I say, it's part of grief, and it will pass, and then things move more into acceptance. But the thing is, like, you start thinking, what was I doing? Why did I tolerate that? And then you can feel really mad at yourself because you're starting to wake up to like your own, like I say, your own values, your own needs, your own feelings. And that is healthy too, okay? Not in the long run. It's not, because obviously that's going to hurt you and then make you feel bad about yourself. And it doesn't help us in the long run to hold on to anger. And it actually, there is a stage, I think, where you start thinking, I know this anger is not hurting anyone except me, so why can't I let it go? And that is also a part of the healing journey. You know, you tend to let it go the more you move into acceptance, and that is not an epiphany moment. That is not an aha moment. Oh, I've got it, I figured it out, I don't have to be angry at them anymore. It's not like that. It's a gradual, incremental, slow burn of moving into acceptance that happens over time, and you can't rush it, and you will not have an epiphany where you go, oh yes, I'm finally free, I can let go of this person, right? It just doesn't happen like that. So if you can sort of accept where you are, like, okay, I'm angry, and that is where I am at in this journey, and I'm absolutely within my right to be really fucking mad about what happened. And that's not to blame, okay? I don't really like blame, although sometimes you will feel the need to do that, and you will also feel the need to do that on yourself as well. It's just part of it. But blame is gonna backfire in the end anyway, because as soon as we're sort of blaming someone, then we're not taking responsibility for ourselves. But at the same time, it's really important to notice, like, when you've been around somebody who literally had an impact on you that made you feel small, less than, not good enough. And I know there's this whole, honestly, what I think is bullshit thing of nobody can make you feel anything except you, it's all within you. And like, honestly, people do make you feel things. Like, if you're around somebody and they are consistently rude, mean, they're hot and cold, that will have an impact on you. I think it's really harmful to think that it's absolutely 100 billion% all on us to just feel zen and at peace with everybody, even if they're a complete twat, right? So honestly, I think it's really healthy to address when somebody has been unhealthy for you in your life, and then to be angry about that both ways, to be angry at them and to be angry at you, and then to let that move into acceptance, right? It's not to actually blame you or them or anything, or to name anyone as bad, okay? Because like I do stand by the fact that we all are the way that we are because we are the way that we are, because of our childhood and our upbringing and things like that. And some of those things are unconscious, they're not deliberate. And equally, it's important to acknowledge that if someone has an impact on you, no matter what the reason, no matter why they're doing it, you can have all the empathy in the world for them. But if they're still hurting you, they're hurting you, right? So, yeah, I think that is a healthy part of the healing process. For me, just to sort of give you an example of how this sort of pans out, as you sort of move into like having more distance, having more space away from the triggering person or situation or whatever, and your nervous system settles more, and you start to be able to just sort of get out of the loop of thinking about it, and you realize that nothing's going to change. They are the way that they are, and it's not your responsibility to fix it, and you can't. And in fact, the harder you try to fix it, the worse it will get. The more you kind of sort of, it's not giving up but letting go of that whole narrative, the more you sort of see, wow, I really actually wanted them to be something that they're not. I really did expect them to change for me. I really did have this expectation that they would be a different way, and that helps you to like move into acceptance, I think. And then you start to be able to just detach from the story, and then you can see they're just a person. They're just a person with their shit. And, I got swept up in it. And I'm just a person with my shit. And that was part of the reason why I got swept up in it, So like it just is what it is then. And then you can sort of, the anger settles and you don't feel the anger or hate towards them. In fact, you sort of feel neutral, compassion, nothing really. It just is what it is. And that, I suppose, is the true mark of healing, when you move into it's neutral. And that can just take a really, really long time, and there's no timeline for it, but it is just a journey that's different for everybody. But like I say, I know that some people might think, why is she promoting anger? Or I don't know what you might think. I've had comments before, people saying, you used to be so compassionate about avoidance. It's not that I'm not compassionate about avoidance. It's just that I want you to have respect for yourself, right? And again, I don't think it's helpful to blame them either, because I also think it's very powerful when you take responsibility for your own part in the dynamic. But I think it is just to say that it is a very normal and understandable part of your journey that helps you in the end to connect back to your own voice and really discover what your needs and feelings are. And at first it peaks with this really big anger, and then it dies down. It dies down and it becomes more neutral. But just to sort of do this video, really just to say, expect it. Budget in some anger, even if you've never been angry before in your life, especially if you haven't. It's powerful to like finally go, fuck you. What the fuck was that? You know? I love that phrase. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is tell someone to fuck off. And sometimes it is. And it's not always the like nicest thing to do. It's not always the like most sensible thing to do. And I'm not telling you to do that. But I'm saying if you ever do and you think, oh no, why did I do that? You probably needed to be honest. It was probably part of you finding your voice again. And it's fine. You know, I did it. Oh my God, the things I said in my anger phase, you would not believe Karina said those things, honestly. And then again, I'd go through it with my therapist and be like, what was that? And who am I? What was I the problem? Was it me? And then she'd be like, nope, this is the anger phase. This is you finding your voice. This is years of repressed needs. This is years of you not saying no. This is years of all of that finally coming to an end. So well done. And it was like, oh, wow. Doesn't feel comfortable because you don't like that. It doesn't feel safe sometimes to feel anger. By the way, this anger bit is part of my course, The Self-Abandonment Trap, which is going to start on the 19th of May. And it's all to help you with this part in the journey of when you've been in one of these relationships or a situation like this, and you've been in some kind of situation that made you feel less than, you've struggled to say your truth, to speak your voice, and then you finally get to that point where you're like, I want to do this now, I want to be me, I want to be free, I want to stop obsessing, I want to get out of this loop. And this course will help you with that. So if you want any information about that or about what I do, you can find out in the links below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.